We're here. Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Happy last day of October. October 31st is upon us. We are here, though. We're ready to work. We're ready to dive in to a new set of opportunities, right? We're here from switching up the machines here on a different laptop. So I've got to figure out what attachments I need to get together in order to use my external mic on this and everything. But how we doing? Can you guys hear me? Audio all good. Let me know in the comments. I'm Andrea. Good morning. Tage. Good morning. Paul. I'm at Paul. Good morning. Hope everybody had a great night's sleep. I had some weird dreams. I can't remember exactly what about. I just know in my dreams I was like, man, this is weird. But still got some good sleep. Woke up, albeit late. Not gonna lie, didn't get my run in this morning. But still ready to attack the day, right? To get after it. Not every day will be the peak day, right, where you just get everything done and you've taken care of all the responsibilities you'd like to do before the opening bell. But the key is just to show up for the main things and execute, right? Show up for the big things, show up for the good things. Okay, awesome. Nice. Audio is good. Thank you for letting me know that. Benjamin, good morning. Detrice, good morning. Yes, Des, good morning. Hope everybody had a great night's sleep again. And you're ready to get after it here today. We've got a busy week. If you missed exactly what's going on this week, make sure you check out our session from yesterday. We talked about a number of different things going on this week. We've got Powell speaking on Wednesday. We've got Apple delivering its earnings report on Thursday, which I have some feelings about. To be honest, I feel like, so Apple announced that they're going to have like some kind of throw together MacBook event right before earnings. That kind of seems like a desperate grab for like clout going into earnings. Like if you have great news to announce, normally you just do it during earnings. It's like, it makes me think that the MacBook numbers aren't going to be good. So they're coming out beforehand like, hey, look at all the awesome stuff we're doing with the MacBook. And then that way you forget about the fact that the MacBook numbers are horrible when they come out for earnings. So that did not give me like, that's just kind of my 2 cents when thinking about it. It's like whenever companies try and come out beforehand and they're like, hey, before we let you know how we're doing, we're going to show you some stuff that we're doing in the future. It's like, that's kind of like, again, when your kid comes home and, it's report card season and they've like cleaned the house and everything. And it's like, you're acting like you're really trying to throw a lot of positive things in there before this very important pivotal piece of news drops. It makes me think that news might not be that good because Apple doesn't really have throw together events. And this was kind of like a throw together event. So anyways, that's my 2 cents going into earnings. Does that mean you throw the house on Apple puts? Absolutely not. But it's just something that as you kind of companies, the way that they move going into earnings really says a lot. So for me, that was just kind of my thought, seeing that Apple was having that MacBook event. It was just like, why, right? Why right now? Why does it seem like, because they have planned events, why does it seem like you just threw this in before earnings? Seems a little bit sketchy, and it seems like they might be trying to compensate for what might not be a great report. But what we're doing here is compensating for the volatility the markets can bring by preparing in advance, right? That's what we're doing here. So make sure you drop your 1 in the chat, signifying your intention to get 1% better. That's all we're trying to do. Get 1% better each and every day. Again, if you accomplish that goal, crazy things can occur. Yesterday was a good day, solid day. We had multiple trades to the downside on SPY, which was really nice. SPY puts came in clutch multiple times. Microsoft puts came in clutch as well. So a good day. It's always great to start the week off, on a nice, profitable run. We're still abiding by the same rules, right, that we were earlier this week. It's important to recognize that we're in that see profit, take profit mode, right, where we're not getting greedy. We're making sure that we, kind of watch things and manage things closely. And, that's just kind of, you shift gears. We were in a moment of market movement where you could just go, right? Throw darts at a dartboard and everything was hitting, right? When we talk about for the downside, and then before that to the upside as well. But then you get into those modes where it's like, all right, you gotta play things a little bit closer to the chest. You need a tighter leash on things. You want to execute, get in, get out. Don't turn your nose down at good profits, right? And that's where we're at now. So during a week like this one, where we have, some of the most valuable companies in the world reporting earnings, we've got Powell speaking, we've got data coming out, Thursday, Friday, some during the day, earlier on in the week. When you've got crazy weeks like this, it's important to take the wins you can get, right? Lock them down, and that way you can still be profitable during these tough weeks. So huge achievement. Still being profitable yesterday over the course of what will look to be a very, very packed week. And our top news today, on our Tuesday specific news, is go big or go home. So it took over 6 weeks, but it looks like a strike that threatened to upend the American auto industry is coming to an end. General Motors has become the last of the big three Detroit automakers to ink a tentative deal with the United Auto Workers Union, which had threatened to expand its strike to GM's key engine plant in Tennessee, the automaker's largest facility in North America. In total, the series of walkouts that began on September 15th ended up involving nearly 50,000 workers, with the labor action costing GM, Ford, and Stellantis, as well as their suppliers, billions of dollars. Quote, we wholeheartedly believe our strike squeezed every last dime out of General Motors, UAW President Shawn Fain declared. They underestimated us. They underestimated you. We have shown the companies, the American public, and the whole world that the working class is not done fighting. In fact, we're just getting started. So, very beautiful, charismatic speech there. Union members will get hefty double-digit pay raises that are said to cost GM nearly $7 billion over the next 4.5 years. Higher labor costs will also hit the bottom line of Ford, which last week suspended its guidance and said the new deal with the UAW would add $850 to $900 to the cost of each car. Other terms in the contracts include restricting the use of lower-paid temporary workers, as well as having influence over what plants stay open as the automakers shift to electric vehicles. This is important, right? This is bad news for these companies, good news for the workers. Like they said, it'll add an extra $1,000 of cost to each car. To be honest, I'm still confident that these companies will figure out some way in order to make what's best for them work for them. I don't doubt that they probably have some loophole stuck in there somewhere. Again, this is just speculation from me, but at the end of the day, there's too much innovation going on for them to shoot themselves in the foot for the next decade. I feel like we probably won't need a lot of workers there on plants over the course of the next 5 years with how quickly AI is developing, right? If you have an AI strictly dedicated to production of vehicles, I feel like it could do it a lot faster, a lot cleaner, a lot more efficient with less materials and less waste than a warehouse full of humans taking lunch breaks and accidentally slicing off fingers and all this other stuff, right? I just feel like same thing that goes on with the writers and the actors. Like there's going to be some type of legal jargon that they have built into this that's just going to allow them to circumvent whatever deals that they're making now in terms of labor. But let's see here. Quote, GM moved firmly into a medium-term downtrend with buyers giving up the critical $30 support zone decisively, wrote Seeking Alpha investing group leader JR Research. Quote, investors are right to question whether General Motors' 2030 business plan is still on track, notwithstanding management's optimism. So in terms of the outlook, the new UAW contracts will significantly raise costs for the automakers, which will attempt to pass some of those along to consumers, seek out production efficiencies, or change their focus to the most profitable models. EV leader Tesla and non-union foreign brands like Toyota, ticker TM, could also now be in the crosshairs of the UAW, and it may drive other industries to secure better compensation and working conditions. Pharmacy staff from CVS and Walgreens just went on strike in what has been dubbed Pharmageddon. This is more than an auto industry story, according to the Anderson Economic Group. It is a signal to the entire country that unionized workers can demand and get big wage increases. Guys, I mean, it's crazy, right? The crystal ball is hitting. We were talking about unionization as a trend a year ago, right? When we saw that happening with Starbucks, right? We saw all these different Amazon locations that had never had an issue with unions before, and how this was going to become a wide swathing trend. And that's exactly what it's become. So being here, tuning into the pre-market prep sessions gets you such a leg up because you see the writing on the wall, and that allows you to really, really effectively make hypotheses about where things will go in the future, right? Or what's happening and what will continue to go on. And it can just make you not only a better trader and a better investor, but a better human, right? Because you see the writing on the wall, you see these things happening, right? So maybe you decide to make certain life decisions, at a different pace, right? You see this going on, you're like, oh, the price of vehicles is about to go up. Maybe I'll go get, this vehicle now instead of waiting at this point to get it, right? All these different things, they play a role in you being just a successful human, right? Succeeding at life. But yeah, I love to give ourselves a pat on the back when you see this come to fruition, right? And it's like this is something that seemingly came out of nowhere where everyone is now striking, but it's not, right? It began months ago and it's only compounded since. Now, in terms of tech news, AI risks, President Biden has issued an executive order to manage artificial intelligence risks, establishing new standards for AI security, advancing equity and civil rights, and promoting innovation and competition. The order requires AI system developers to share safety test results and other critical information with the US government, among other mandates. The development follows the G7 nations agreeing to a code of conduct for companies building advanced AI systems. While Biden's move builds on previous actions the US government has taken, including securing voluntary commitments from companies like Amazon and Alphabet for AI safeguards. So that's super important, right? Very, very important. Is it going to be like enough regulation for where AI is at and how fast it's progressing? I don't know. Will all of these companies report exactly what they're supposed to report, to the U.S. government? Probably not, knowing private interests and how they've behaved in the past. So, it's just one of those things where we'll have to wait and see. You've just got to hope that all of these companies put the goals of the human race ahead of just the goals of their bottom line. Do I have faith that they'll do that? Humanity's kind of shown itself to be what it is over the course of our existence, but I like this step, right? Any step that's at least trying, I'm in favor of, because while AI is amazing for productivity and especially for me as a business owner and servicing other people and all that, it's great. It's an amazing tool. But in terms of, the negative ramifications, it's also pretty scary, right? The things that it's already done in terms of scamming and deception and fraud, right? Makes it a very difficult world to live in, especially to know what's real and what's fake. When you can hear someone's voice, when someone can write in the same tone, the same style as someone, when you can have videos that are fully fabricated and are indistinguishable from real video, it just becomes a very tough world to live in. So, in terms of economic news here, federal borrowing, the U.S. Treasury has lowered its federal borrowing estimate for the current quarter on higher revenue expectations, although this would still be a record amount compared to prior fourth quarters. It expects to borrow $776 billion during Q4, $76 billion lower than its previous forecast, and $816 billion during Q1 2024, also a record for that period. Quote, in total, over those 2 quarters, marketable debt will have increased by 1.59 trillion, Seeking Alpha analyst Wolf Richter noted, before investors turn to quarterly refunding statement due tomorrow. Most Wall Street breakfast readers will also think across the board spending cuts would immediately address the budget deficit. Do you agree? So just pushing some polls here. Now, in terms of media news, we're talking Twitter, we're talking Elon Musk, Twitter actually now known as X. Is he having buyer's remorse? X Corp is now worth about only $19 billion, well below the $44 billion paid by Elon Musk to buy the social media platform in 2022, even as the world's richest man ramps up efforts to transform the app into a one-stop shop for a wide range of services. Musk has been working to transform X into an everything app, even floating the idea of X serving as an online dating interface while planning to turn the app into a financial hub. Other features include voice and video chat, which could bring X in line with social media apps like Instagram and Facebook. Will it be able to compete over the long term with rival platforms from Meta and other companies? Only time will tell. But so far, in terms of kind of the roller coaster that is dealing with Musk, the roller coaster with Twitter, now known as X, has kind of been on that decline for sure. So we'll see if we end up getting any type of change of momentum. But there's always going to be a time where, you're innovating and you're working in the lab and you're making things better. So if I had to bet, I'm going to bet on Musk. Not everything he does is perfect. We've been waiting on the Cybertruck for 30 million years. But when it comes to things like this, understanding the culture, understanding how humans work, I think that this is something that he could excel at, right, with X. Might not happen now, might not happen for a bit of time, but I think it'll come through. In terms of today's markets, we got a mixed bag going on here in Asia. Japan, we're up 0.5%. Hong Kong down 1.7%. China down 0.1%. India down 0.4%. The footy in London up 0.6%. Paris up 1%. Frankfurt up 0.5%. The Dow up 0.3%, S&P up 0.2, NASDAQ up 0.1, crude up 1%, gold up 0.1%, Bitcoin down 0.3%. In terms of today's economic calendar, the FOMC meeting begins today, right? We get the notes from that meeting tomorrow. We get Powell speaking tomorrow. At 9:45 a.m. today, we get Chicago PMI and consumer confidence at 10 a.m. So we have two pieces of data, one at 9:45, one at 10 a.m. that will be important, right? That will likely move markets. That's important to keep in mind. And we'll finish up here with our rapid fire stock news rundown. New U.S. chip curbs put $5 billion worth of NVIDIA's orders at risk. Bank of Japan tweaks yield curve control policy, holds interest rates. Apple takes wraps off scary fast Macs with updated M3 chips. Again, I think this Apple Mac announcement might kind of be a bailout before they go into earnings, which might be a little bit lackluster or worse than expected. McDonald's ticker MCD beats on both lines as price hikes boost sales. I noticed that. I went to McDonald's. I wanted to try the mumbo sauce. Got a 10-piece nugget meal. It was like over $10. And like, you know how you don't pay attention to prices and then you hear something and you're like, that didn't used to be like that. That was me. Like finally with McDonald's being like, oh wow, you guys really you really bumped the prices. But McDonald's is typically something that does better during a recession. Why? It's associated with being cheap food, but they also raise prices. People don't notice because, you know, collectively prices have risen. So McDonald's typically does well during like tough economic times, recessionary times, and it did well again, you know, this past session. So we'll see. I don't know if they just announced, but that might make McDonald's a little post earnings target, or did that already happen? Oh, it already happened, right? Already happened for McDonald's, and they went back and filled the gap. So no fun for McDonald's here this morning, post earnings wise. But moving on here, Truist downgrades Krispy Kreme, whose ticker is DNUT, on weight loss drug overhang. And then I feel like if weight loss drugs become more popular, then Krispy Kreme becomes more popular, because if people can just take a drug to bail them out of weight issues, then they probably just continue to do what they were doing already and just take the drug. I don't know. It might just be me, but that's how I feel like Americans would think about it. They're like, oh, I can just take whatever this drug is, right? And get skinny and still eat donuts. Got nothing against Krispy Kreme, by the way. Indisputably the best mainstream donut. Like Dunkin' Donuts, garbage, right? But Krispy Kreme, cream of the crop. Now, Avgo, who's Broadcom, right? Their ticker is Avgo, AVGO. CEO believes VMware, ticker VMW, delay is bureaucratic. Pinterest, ticker PINS, jumps as earnings. Monthly active users top estimates. Tesla's stock drops to close at lowest level since May. That's something we were on yesterday, right? Calling out Tesla puts. If you entered those Tesla put positions, Tesla paid quite nicely on the put side. SEC charges SolarWinds information security chief with fraud. Wow. I mean, solar just struggling across the board here. And then White House oil plan for Alaska seen as major threat to future drilling. So we'll finish up there. Wrap it up, put a bow on it, take us out. I'm excited for another day. Like I said, we've got important data, 9:45 a.m., 10 a.m. today. Both of those are going to likely weigh on price action, impact price action in some way. We've got Powell tomorrow, right? And then we've got Apple on Thursday. So it's going to be kind of a landmine type of situation where you just got to tiptoe, pirouette, ballet yourself around the landmines, right? You might get nicked here. You might get knocked over, concussed a bit there, but make sure that you're managing risk in that way. You're never biting off too much that you can't chew, right? Play light has been the theme of the entire week. Even the wins. It's not like the wins, I'm blowing things out of the water and, can go purchase a new house or anything like that. You're playing light, stacking the wins, right? And then those profits compound, right? They compound over time. But take that 25, take that 30%, take that 40%, stack it in the bank, keep it pushing, survive the treacherous week. So that's pretty much everything, guys. Much love. Have a great rest of the day. Let's get out there and execute in markets and operate in patience. PAYTIENCE. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next Premarket Prep session. Have a good one.